Welcome everyone. In this video, I will discuss Adam Smith's theory of international trade. The theory was given by Adam Smith in his book Wealth of Nations. And after watching this video, you will be able to answer how a country can gain from international trade by producing and exporting those commodities in which the country has the absolute advantage, or by importing those items in which the country has absolute disadvantage. অৰ্থাৎ উৎপাদনৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত সৰ্বাধিক সুবিধা থকা দ্ৰব্য এটা উৎপাদন আৰু ৰপ্তানি কৰি আৰু সৰ্বাধিক অসুবিধা থকা দ্ৰব্যটো বিদেশৰ পৰা আমদানি কৰি কেনেদৰে লাভ আহৰণ কৰিব পাৰি এই বিষয়ে এই ভিডিঅ'টোৰ পৰা জানিব পৰা যাব। But before going to the Smith's classical theory of international trade, let me answer, was there international trade before Smith? The answer is yes. The mercantilists were involved in international trade before Smith has given his absolute advantage theory of international trade. The mercantilist view on international trade is export more and import less. Because more export means more inflow of gold, silver and other precious metals to the country. But the view of mercantilist is not favorable for the expansion of international trade because if every nation's motive is to export more and import less, then who will buy the commodities in the global market? This is in fact a big question. অৰ্থাৎ সকলো দেশে যদি বিদেশৰ পৰা ধন হুন গোটাবৰ কাৰণে কেৱল ৰপ্তানি কৰিব বিচাৰে তেন্তে কোন দেশে এই ৰপ্তানিকৃত দ্ৰব্যবোৰ আমদানি কৰিব? গতিকে মাৰ্কেণ্টেলিষ্ট সকলৰ ভিউ যাক আমি সদাগৰীবাদ বুলি জানো ই আন্তঃৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় বাণিজ্যৰ সম্প্ৰসাৰণৰ বাবে উপযোগী নহয় আৰু সেই কাৰণে আডাম স্মিথে তেওঁৰ থিওৰিটোত কেৱল ৰপ্তানিৰ জৰিয়তেই নহয় বৰঞ্চ ৰপ্তানি আৰু আমদানি দুইটাৰে জৰিয়তে কেনেদৰে লাভ অৰ্জন কৰিব পাৰি তাক দেখুৱাইছে। So let us come to the theory of absolute advantage given by Adam Smith. The theory basically says that when one nation is more efficient than another in the production of one commodity but is less efficient than the other nation in producing a second commodity, then both nations can gain by each specializing in the production of the commodity of its absolute advantage and exchanging part of its output with the other nation for the commodity of its absolute disadvantage. Smith basically wants to say that each country should produce that commodity only on which the country has absolute advantage. The country should import the commodity from other nations on which it has absolute disadvantage. If trade happens on the basis of this law, then both nations will be benefited. Let us take one example. Assume that there are two countries, India and England, and India has absolute advantage in the production of wheat. That means India can produce wheat more efficiently. On the other hand, England has absolute advantage in the production of cloth, which means England is more efficient in the cloth production. Under this situation, if India specializes in wheat production and export wheat to England and import cloth from there, then it will be a gain for India. Similarly, if England specializes in cloth production and export some amount of cloth to India and import wheat from there, then it will be a gainful situation for England also. Let us see this case with the help of a numerical example. Here we see by using 1 labor hour, India produces 6 units of wheat and England produces only 2 units of wheat. This indicates that India is more efficient than England in the production of wheat. Or we can say India has absolute advantage in wheat production. On the other hand, by using 1 labor hour, England can produce 4 units of cloth, while India can produce only 3 units. From this, we understand that England is more efficient than India in case of cloth production. Or we can say that England has absolute advantage in cloth production. Here it is important to note that we have assumed that all labor units are homogeneous. So, according to Smith's theory of absolute advantage, India will specialize in the production and export of wheat and it will import cloth from England. And on the contrary, England will specialize in the production and export of cloth and it will import wheat from India. Now, I will show how India and England will get benefit from international trade. And to show this, we have to see the domestic barter ratio between the two countries within the nation. Domestic barter ratio between wheat and cloth means how much of cloth you will get for 1 unit of wheat in the home market. The domestic barter rate in India is 6 units of wheat is equal to 3 units of cloth. And by simplifying, we can say that 1 unit of wheat is equal to 0.5 unit of cloth. This ratio indicates that if you pay 1 unit of wheat, you will get 0.5 units of cloth in Indian market. On the other hand, the domestic barter rate between wheat and cloth in England is 2 units of wheat is equal to 4 units of cloth. Or by simplifying, we can say 1 unit of wheat is equal to 2 units of cloth. Now, I will show how both the countries will be better off if they involve in international trade. If India exports 1 unit of wheat to England, she will get 2 units of cloth from England, which is much better than what India gets in its home market. In the home market, India would have got only 0.5 units of cloth for 1 unit of wheat. On the other hand, if England exports 2 units of cloth to India, she will get 4 units of wheat from there, because India is offering 1 unit of wheat for 0.5 units of cloth. So more specifically, by selling 2 units of cloth in home country, England will get only 1 unit of wheat. But if she sells 2 units of cloth to India, she will get 4 units of wheat. Thus, both the countries can gain from international trade by producing and exporting the commodity in which they have absolute advantage, or by importing that commodity in which they have absolute disadvantage. However, this theory has some limitations also. This theory was criticized for its unrealistic assumptions such as existence of free trade, all labor units are homogeneous, factor in mobility among nations, absence of transportation cost, etc. Moreover, this theory doesn't discuss what will happen if one country has disadvantage in the production of both the commodities. Such a situation is addressed by David Ricardo, where he explains that even if a country is less efficient in the production of both the commodities, there remains a scope for gainful international trade. David Ricardo explains this in his comparative advantage theory of international trade, which will be discussed in the next classes. Though Adam Smith's theory of international trade is criticized under some grounds, it has provided a basis for the development of subsequent trade theories. Hope I am able to give you an idea on Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage. I request you go through the book International Economics by Dominic Salvatore and International Economics by H.G. Menor. And thank you all for watching my video.